Welcome to the Unfolding Podcast, a space where soul, synchronicity, and self-discovery meet. Together, we explore the cycles, lessons, and magic that shape our human experience. Breathe, soften, and open your heart as we journey into the wisdom waiting to unfold. Hey fam, we're back with another episode of The Unfolding. Once again, I'm Luna, and this is my beautiful co-host Solera, and we are so happy to be back. It's the month of May, and we're back with a whole new topic, a whole new conversation that I think it's going to really encourage and challenge a lot of our viewers, a lot of you guys, because it's challenging us, and we always come to you through real life, real time, right now experiences. So today we're talking about the courage to be seen and what visibility looks like, not just on social media, but in real life, allowing your giftings to be seen and why it's important to become visible, but not become visible only through a lens of ego, and how being visible can help attract what's supposed to come into your life. Um, and so I'm going to start off with asking Solera a question because she was honest with me, earlier talking about, being more visible is newer for her. Um, I've I've been visible for a while in my own business, but she's becoming more visible in her own way. And so I'm going to ask you, Solera, what were some of the roadblocks or some of the actual, real, vulnerable thoughts, if you don't mind sharing, um, of what stopped you from wanting to be visible? Did you ever think about visibility, first of all? And what stopped you? What was your number one fear or limiting belief, going back to our last episode around allowing yourself to be seen, whether it's social media or a talent you have, whether it's writing, speaking, even doing this podcast? What helped you to break out of that fear?
Yeah, I love the question, and I've been reflecting on it. Obviously, we've been mentally preparing ourselves for this episode, and I had to ask myself that question, really what stops me? And I sort of know, we all know, but exploring it, going deeper and asking ourselves what really stopping us is something different. And it's a couple things. I mean, number one, it's fear. Let's be real, right? There's a fear, but why the fear? And something that came to me was, as an empath, a lot of times you try to feel the person, the room, the situation, and I'm a mutable sign. So I'm
Mm,
Pisces. I can sort of adapt to what's needed, and I can feel that person, understand them, and approach them in a way that they need me to approach them so that we can connect, communicate, so I can get my message across. But being mutable is also exhausting
talk about
because,
that. Yeah.
I didn't either. It just literally just came to me yesterday, and it's like, why? But it's exhausting, but just because you can doesn't mean you want to. And that's been an inner an inner thing that I've been working on, and Luna's been working on, is how to show up as me all the time and not dishonor myself, you know, by adapting and being there for that person. Well, what, I'm a person too. I'm in this conversation too. And
Right.
where do I want to come? Where do I want to come in? Like what am I feeling I need to say without being so cautious and aware of everyone else's feelings? Because
Mm,
that's essentially what it is. It's like I read it and it's like, they're not ready for that. I can give that. It's very exhausting, and not just in the sense that I'm a mutable sign and I'm an empath and I can relate, but also in a sense that I work in a corporate environment, which
mm-hmm.
I've talked to Luna about many times. And the reason that's difficult to show up as your true, genuine, authentic self in a corporate environment, and people who work in corporate know, is because it's not meant to be an authentic space where you show up as yourself. It's meant to be a system, an organization of people working to
Mm-hmm.
collaborate towards the same thing. It doesn't leave room for really
Expression.
like expression. Exactly. Who are you in this role? And that's not true, as I say that, right? It's not true in a sense, because I need to figure out how to still show up as myself in that environment without feeling like I can't, because
Mm-hmm.
the agenda or the environment doesn't support that. How do I integrate is in that environment? That's how I feel, that's something I've been working on. How do you show up more authentically, even in that environment where there is no space to really, talk about your creative expression, who you are, what you bring to the
Mm-hmm.
table, who you are as a person, because at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. It's, are you producing or not,
So I want
right?
to.
Let's be
So
real.
I want to ask you another question to go deeper into that, and I'm going to go into my own thing in a minute. I know you're going to bounce off of me, but I'm listening intentionally to you. And yes, being a mutable sign and also me being an air sign, I totally understand because in a sense, you can almost camouflage and mute, literally mute yourself because you're blending. So how have you found your voice, or how are you starting to integrate a little bit of I'm at corporate, I'm doing this, but I'm also this person without giving names or specific things that make you uncomfortable? Like, can you give an example to somebody that might be struggling because they're in corporate 9 to 5, but they also have very passionate projects or giftings, and maybe they're wanting to also show up as their true self, but also keep um, safe boundaries to also stay professional within the organization? How can you do that? What are small little steps you've been starting to take to shift that mindset?
So like I said, I'm starting. I don't want to say I just started, because this is a
Yeah,
theme
been
for
a process.
a little bit now, but showing up as your authentic self is staying true to yourself, essentially, when things are imposed on you that you don't agree with, you know, being able to communicate your point of view without creating conflict,
Mm,
and but coming from a space that's authentic to me. For example, I have someone at work, right, that there's been like a little friction, right? It's it's like a competition. And I don't want it to be a competition. I want this person to understand we're on the same team.
mhm,
And so I communicated to that person. I reached out to them and, you know, and just said, hey, thank you for calling out the situation. But at the end of the day, we're the same team, same goal,
mhm,
and that took a lot of courage for me to do, because I don't like conflict. I don't like conflict. I like solutions. I like finding efficiencies, ways to help people. I don't like conflict. I like to make peace. But I needed to do that for me because the communication wasn't a friendly. It wasn't, we're a team.
mhm,
Okay. So and I asked myself, you know, are we okay with letting this go? Or are we at the point where we need to talk to this person as a person so they understand where I'm coming from, so we can work together moving forward as a team? And I will tell you this, I didn't know exactly where I was going to go with that answer. I was a little caught off guard with the question, but thank you for asking,
mhm,
because it's helping me reflect. Since then, our relationship has been so much better.
mm,
So it was like, when I approached that person, it was like, do you see that we're a team? Do you see that the work that I do is to support the work that you do?
mhm,
And I think it was really an aha moment, to see it in a different lens. And now the communication is more amicable, it's more friendly. So that was a challenge for me, because I had to confront.
Mhm.
that situation, in an authentic way. Does it make sense? Does that answer your question?
Absolutely, because what we're talking about is the fact that one of the things you're working on is authenticity at all times, which is part
Right.
of being seen. Most people don't
Right.
want to be themselves because they're afraid that all the parts of them will not be accepted. And when it comes to work, friction happens based off of assumptions. I found out the hard way too. Being an entrepreneur and working for other studios and different things, you have a lot of people and personalities. And even though I'm an air sign and I'm a humanitarian, I want everyone to get along. At the end of the day, one of my biggest pet peeves is lack of communication. I've actually like ended friendships based off of lack of communication, um, because it's unnecessary. Ask your questions, find clarity. Even if the person's a little offended, in the end, even if they don't talk to you, they're going to end up seeing you through a lens of respect because you were real enough to be yourself to say, hey, are we good? Hey, do you see this? XYZ. Sometimes the person doesn't see. People are going through their own shit in life. And unfortunately, sometimes bringing it to work. And so,
That you just said it.
you
It's
know,
we get stuck in our own issues and we don't see the
right.
bigger picture.
That was
Mhm.
good. That probably helped somebody a lot because I know we talk a lot about spirituality on here, and I love that we do, but I want you guys to know that we are real people with our real life situations and we work and we would love to do this full time and we will be. We manifest that. But the reality is we still show up at other places where we're not talking about what we want to talk about or, we're not in charge of the subject like how we are on this podcast. And so how do you blend while also be visible and stand out and have the courage to be
Right.
seen, right? And not like hide under a rock when you have a gift that can be a quality gift that can edify a team,
Yeah.
edify a company. And it's not a place of ego, it's just that you're good at it. And sometimes a person has no idea you've been good at it this long and the team is suffering. So I'm saying that in a corporate way, but you can look at it as a collective.
Right. You
Collective
can apply it in
suffers.
different scenarios.
Right. The collective suffers when we don't step out in our gifts and we don't write the quote, when we don't say what we mean or come out with our natural born gifts,
Mhm.
people suffer, we suffer. I'm learning that through lived experiences. So that was
Right.
good. That was good.
Well, I think showing up as your authentic self triggers a lot of people
I've experienced that.
unintentionally.
hmm
And that's it, right? And that's something we're practicing is and it doesn't when we say authentic selves, it doesn't mean that we're lying or that we're not, you know, showing up as ourselves. It means truly expressing yourself without thinking about what they may perceive you as, what they're going to
hmm
think, just this is what came out. But not came out abruptly. You understand what I'm saying? It's just
Absolutely.
so I think that's the tough part that I'm seeing when I do practice being authentic. Sometimes I trigger people unintentionally, and I'm just practicing making the statement without overthinking it.
Yes. Yeah.
Normally I overthink it because I want to soften it because I know this person's going to take it this way. And it's a lot of work like to always think about how everyone's going to perceive your
It's
message.
exhausting.
And yeah, and you want to have a good message, but when you're constantly like a mutable sign thinking about how they're going to feel about it and this and that, then you never get to say your message. And I'm sick and tired of not delivering the
hmm
message
Yeah.
that I want to deliver in a daily life. It doesn't matter if it's your family, it doesn't matter if it's work, just being able to deliver where you're coming from.
hmm
I think a lot of the problem is too is and I don't want to get off on a tangent on that topic, but a lot of people aren't working on healing, not
mm
taking things personal. So, and that's the thing. It's hard to be that way when people get triggered, but I'm at the point where if you don't like it, you don't like it.
Period.
Because the
Yeah.
pain that you feel inside from holding in your voice inside to make other people comfortable. I'm not here to make you comfortable. I'm not here to be comfortable. you know? So the
Mhm.
reason this topic came up for Luna and I is because
Mhm.
it shows up in different aspects in our life, in the work that
Yeah.
she does, in the
Yeah.
work that I do, in our personal environments with our family. And not everyone understands us, especially when you've been through a journey that you've changed and evolved so
Mhm.
much and that you've healed so much. And you gave people a version of you that they're still expecting you to be, and you can't be that person if you're honoring yourself.
That's right. Hmm. So much just yeah. There's a lot going on up here. um, you know, I'm gonna
So
speak
I'll ask you
to
a question,
yeah, go ahead.
if you don't mind.
That will
If you
definitely
don't
help.
mind.
'Cause I'm already starting to formulate, but it probably is gonna line up with what I'm thinking because we always are on the same track. So go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, in your line of work,
Mhm.
because you don't work in a corporate
Mm-mm.
environment, you're independent and you collaborate with many different people. You
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
students that show up for classes.
Mhm.
How do you work on showing up more authentically in those environments?
Whew. So without giving the whole kit and caboodle away, I want to give the audience a little taste of what I do because it will give them more of an insight as to what I'm about to say. So as Solera said, I am an independent contractor and I've had my own business for almost 4 years now. And it's in the wellness industry and the spiritual industry. And you know that's it's a lot going on in there. Some fake, some true. Um, but yeah, I teach yoga, I teach Pilates, I teach mindfulness. I work with mental health clients. So I actually do work in corporate in a sense, but it's different because I'm a contractor and even though I'm not an employee, I'm still under a corporation. And so when it comes to mental health, I'll start with that. I work at a mental health facility. I won't say the name, but it's a very big facility that has franchises all over America. We have about 10 to 20 clients for about 30 days that are in the program, different diagnoses. And my job is mindfulness coaching and somatic work. So, working with the body and the mind and getting these clients to see how the mind and body work together. The difficult part is it is a corporation and I need to honor my work. And so, one of the things that we're not able to really do there is touch on certain spiritual factors, right? And so I would be more sensitive when reading a book about meditation and not forcing anyone into one path or the other. I don't bring in stones and crystals, things like that. I've monitored it over the year that I've been there so far. And so for me, that's respect, but I don't mute myself. I found myself, like Solera said, muting myself a little bit in the beginning because I was finding my footing. And so now I've realized that these clients, I've been through depression. I've been through serious manic depression. And I thought to myself, what could I offer them that I didn't get when I was going through all of these things? And my
I
parents were
like
so
that.
concerned about me. How can I be my authentic self and understand from the scope of where they're coming from? Because I'm not a psychotherapist. I love psychotherapists, I work alongside them. But my job is to be a liaison between a psychotherapist and the client. And so I get to coach. I have a little more freedom. So I was like, how can I find freedom with still respecting the corporation? So what I've been doing is being very authentic with where I'm coming from. So I have a personality where I like to find humor, help people to laugh, help people to loosen up. They thought when I came in I was going to be this very serious, like, love and light instructor and never crack a smile and all this kind of stuff. And so, I basically told them my work and my job as a teacher that healing doesn't have to be hard. Healing doesn't have to be so serious. And there's so many different ways to heal. And so once they realize that, they begin lightening up. Of course, we're on a spectrum where we don't want the clients to become our besties, right? But their respect level went up because they realized, oh, she's lived through this. Now this is her life work. And she has different ways of teaching us these healing modalities. Like, for example, some of them are afraid to meditate. I can't meditate. And so I'm like, how about walking meditation, right? And so we go on walks and we chat a little bit and observe nature. And so it's my way of giving of myself in a true way from a lived experience instead of being like, I'm above you
Right.
and
Exactly.
everyone must sit down still for a whole hour and levitate like Buddha, and then you will be peaceful and enlightened and your diagnosis will go away. I mean, that's not how it works. And so every week that I go in, it's different personalities. People are sometimes sad, depressed, angry, walking out of the room. So I have to adjust a lot. And as an air sign, I'm good at it, but I'm also sensitive, like Solera said. I can feel the energy. I'm a humanitarian, and my job in this world is to bring everyone together. And so at the end of my hour there or time, I always think, have I brought the group together? Have I brought us closer? Or have I confused them with going above what they're able to receive? That's
Mm.
one place. In studios with yoga and stuff like that, it's different. There's different bodies, there's different people, there's different teachers you're working with. We sub for one another, we help one another. Sometimes there's friction because we don't know each other as well. And so I've made it my job to be me. When I first came in, I'm going to be totally honest. I was one of the first Black instructors in both of my studios, in many places that I've worked. And I looked different. My music taste was different. And I tried to hide it. And when I tried to play safe, that's when I had the least students. And that's when people couldn't connect with me the most. And so I'm telling you this for a
Mm.
reason, audience.
That's a really good
When,
example.
right? When you show, and when I started saying, fuck it, you know what? I'm going to come from where I'm at. I'm going to let them know how Pilates and yoga healed my life with depression, with movement. And I'm going to bring my hip hop and my weird 80s music and my random playlist because an Aquarius loves all music. And I'm going to really show them how much I love music. And so, like, now it's the point where they're like, what's the next playlist? And they're always asking, what's the theme going to be for the next class? Because they expect a fire playlist. They expect me to say sarcastic, off the cuff stuff. Also, I'm going through hormonal changes. And so it's been a joke of like, well, it's hormone brain. Oops, I meant to say pick up your weight, stuff like that. Instead of shaming myself,
Mm. Yeah,
being human, I show up completely 100% as I am, still
as you
keeping,
are.
still keeping professionalism, because that makes the other person that came into that room, that new student, to feel safety, to realize that we are facilitators and we are human and we're not always going to get it right. And that opens them up to want to practice with me. And my classes have grown exponentially since I started showing up as myself. So you can
Mm.
see where it can
So
almost
you
hurt.
notice the shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, you notice the shift in how you show up. And
Yeah.
that's the thing, no one knows what you're going through
Yeah.
here until you speak up, you show up as you. And and people need to respect you,
That's right.
is what it boils down to. That's who you are, and you don't have to fit the mold.
Mm.
We're at a point in this lifetime that I think a lot of people are realizing we don't want to fit a mold anymore. It's like, who are you and what gifts do you have to offer this
Yeah.
world? What makes you different? Actually, my sister recently went through a job interview and she asked me for some advice. And, ChatGPT is there to give advice, but I told her I'll give you the heart to heart human advice. And the advice
Mm.
is show up as you and help them see why if there's 10 other people in that same position, why should I choose you? What makes you stand
Mhm.
out? What makes you different? Because I think we all crave authenticity. A lot of
Yes.
times we look at celebrities and people who are doing it, who are embodying who they are through their
Mhm.
creativity and what they do. And I think that's the reason a lot of people idolize celebrities is because they see that they're doing something they want. And a
Yeah.
lot of people feel like they're not, I don't want to say capable, but like they're not at that level. They don't have the gifts that person has, so you can't do that. Yes, you can, and we all need to do that.
Yes.
There's a reason we're all different. There's a reason we came here to learn different lessons and to discover the gifts that we have and bring them to
Mm.
this world. So
Ooh.
showing up authentically as yourself is basically showing the world the gift that you are. And if some people don't receive it as a gift and it
Mhm.
triggers them, that's a gift for them because triggers are a gift.
That's right.
There's a reason it came up, you know?
That's right.
And so then it's really your problem. It's not my problem. And
Right.
so and I don't mean that in an egotistical way, like I don't care. Obviously I care. We're here on this podcast because we want to share our own lessons and things that
Mhm.
we're learning to empower other people. We care, but I care more about me. You gotta care
You
more
have
about you.
to. Number one.
You know, if you're withholding these things, I mean, think about cancer and all these diseases that are happening in
Mm,
the world, you know, from us holding pain,
mm,
holding back our voice, holding back who we are, playing roles that are not us. We're
mm.
at that point, and I think a lot of us are going through it where it's like, how can I show up as myself? I'm tired of this, you know, dumbing myself down, playing smaller to make other people feel comfortable.
Girl, I better preach on it. You know, you said something and it's like putting yourself first, that's number one. And not caring is really a big deal. Not caring in a way where you don't abandon yourself. And I had a question written down. So I'm looking at my notes. I'm still looking at you guys, but I'm being real, authentic. I am looking at my notes to make sure I don't go off track. And I wrote a question down. And this is a really triggering, soul triggering question. When I say triggering, I think we look at triggers as a negative thing. And I want you guys to reframe triggers as a positive thing because some triggers are meant to charge your heart so you can transform and change.
Which is what I just said, the
Okay. That's
trigger's a gift,
literally
you
it.
know?
It's a gift.
You just don't see it.
So
Yeah.
I ask this question, if you feel judged, you're triggered because this is meant for you. So just know that it's not coming from me, but it's coming from probably what your soul is asking itself. What if the fear of being seen isn't actually fear, but it's the grief of abandoning yourself for so long? And I know Solera and I can relate to this. I'm going to speak on the grief that it caused me. And then I'm going to ask Solera, like, how did abandoning your true self, your light, your gifts, how did the fear of that, um, how was it attached to the grief of abandoning yourself? Like, how did it make you feel like you're not being true to yourself? And so I'm going to start out
Mhm.
because, you know, you were talking about different diseases, and you want to be very sensitive here. If anyone's struggling with anything, you know, we're not sitting here saying you have cancer because you have bad thoughts, you know. We're
Mhm.
really just saying that your thoughts and everything that you feel are a part of your body's experience. And we know this because we're human. And I have a chronic pain, right? And I have flares. As strong as I am physically in all the places that I work, in wellness, I'm very open about my chronic pain because if I wasn't, I could be fired by now for being fake. People expect a certain version of you to show up when you're the person teaching them how to lift weights. But it also
Right.
encourages people to know that I have days where I feel immobile and can't move well or that I experience pain in that way. And so I felt grief of not showing up as myself within wellness spaces for a very long time because especially with Pilates, I know Pilates is a big like topic right now. Everyone's like, I want to be a Pilates girl. Well, it wasn't hot back then in 2010 when I got certified. Once again, first Indigenous Black Pilates instructor in the middle of South Carolina, getting, you know, my certification, going into studios with bodies that didn't look like mine. There was no curves, no representation. And I thought to myself, I chose the wrong thing. I actually stayed away from teaching for the first year. Like I did little pop ups, but I was really nervous because I said, I just don't fit in. I don't see where I fit in. And that became a grief that I held. And instead of using Pilates to heal me, it kind of became like an enemy to me in the beginning because I already had pain. I already been diagnosed in 2012 with this disease, fibromyalgia. And now, me sitting there saying, oh, poor me, where do I fit in as a teacher? That pain began to inflict my body and show up in a cellular way. Migraines, feeling debilitating. It wasn't until I started thinking to myself, it just came to me in my spirit. I need to create spaces where people that look like me or feel like me, whether it's chronic pain, Black woman, Spanish woman, women of color, women with all body shapes can feel welcome. People can feel welcome. If I feel this way, why not create a platform instead of hiding in the background, feeling sorry for myself? And so that was a lot of growth for me. And it took me a long time to get to where I am now, to where I see people walking in and saying, I come because of you. I come because you play this music. I come because I could wear my hair tied up my hair bonnet and not worry
Right.
about feeling funny in this class, you know? So the grief of what I felt, it was real grief, but also it was stopping me from moving forward. And I'm saying that because sometimes your fear, your grief can stop you from moving forward, and you're suffering, and so are the people that need you. And like Solera said, the pain is far more worse of holding within yourself that gift that could be shared than just deciding, I'm going to do it anyways, knees shaking, scared, don't know how
Right.
to cue this class, don't know how all the anatomy yet, but I'm going to do the damn thing. And as I did it, I embodied it year after year. And now I'm a veteran in the field of Pilates, you know, and I'm like looking at all these newbies like, good for you, but you have it a little easier now because everybody wants to do Pilates. But I had to break through a time where this wasn't popular. People are like, what is this weird thing you're doing? It looks like Tai Chi. You're moving so slow. I'm not doing that. Tons of events unattended, tons of posts ignored, and I'm still here. And so you have to believe in what you have to offer. That's one of my gifts, but you have to believe in what you have to offer enough to be able to face that rejection and also brave enough to create a space for what you needed when you felt your pain. Am I making sense? And so I'm asking you,
Yes.
Solera, like, how did abandoning yourself show up as grief and in what ways? Because it's not just, we talked about corporate, but there's some other gifts that you have. And I know I'm not going to give them all away, but like, I know you're a thought leader and you're a writer and things like that. And so,
Mhm.
what are you working through now? Let's go to social media, for example. What are you working through now to show up and be more visible in other ways that people have not known you as? And how did it feel
Yeah.
before when you weren't doing that?
Yeah.
Did it hurt you? Did it show up in a physical
First,
way?
yeah, first I'll say it feels suffocating, and I didn't realize that I felt this way for a long time. It was just like it just kept going through the motions, showing up as a version people expect me to show up as.
Mm.
And that got tiring. It's like I want to be free. That's the feeling that came. And that voice, I should say it's a voice. It's a voice that became louder than the one that said, you know, play
Mm.
small to make other people feel comfortable. And so it's not hiding yourself, but it's not fully expressing what you want to express. It's like you're giving tidbits of yourself. And so Luna and I have been talking about this, and something I've been working on is being more vocal on my personal social media. And the way I've used social media in the past is more like a travel journal or like a journal to myself to keep photos, which is fine. But if I'm trying to be more visible, I want who I am, what I embody, my voice to be seen in all aspects of my life. So
Mhm.
social media is one small example.
Mhm.
And the reason I want to be more vocal on social media is not for fame and glory. It's because there are gifts that I have to offer this world, and no one's going to know I have those gifts if I hide or I'm not visible.
Yeah.
So visibility is huge because, how do you get to where you want to go? How do you collaborate with people if no
Mm.
one knows what you do or what you have
Mhm.
to offer? And that was such an aha moment because Luna and I talked about this for a while, and she helped me through it. We try to help each other through things,
Yes, we do.
and she
Mm.
helped me see that I'm using social media in a way that benefits me personally, but it's not supporting the bigger vision, the more long-term goal that I'm working towards, if that makes
Yes.
sense.
Oh, so good.
So, and it's not just on social
Mm.
media, but just in conversations, like I said, at work or conversations with family, like not adding extra words to what I'm communicating to soften or to make them feel, just here's my answer. And it's never rude. This is the thing. I don't want
Yeah.
the perception to be that I'm a jerk. It's not. It's just I don't want to spend all the time doing the fluff. You know what I'm
See,
saying? It's just
but Solera,
that.
even in that, you're apologizing to the audience. You see how we're working on it, guys? You're
Yeah. You
you're
see?
like, I don't want you to think I mean like F what they think.
Exactly.
Your soul.
Yeah, yeah.
You know your
Exactly.
soul. right? But you and I are air and
Yeah.
water go together because air is a part of water and water is a part of air. It's together. And I know what you mean because, girl, the way I used to put paragraphs out in my
I
text, like
love
I
how
was
you just call that out, but it's true.
writing a story. Like I do it too. I'm like, I don't want you to think I'm sorry. And I used to do all that shit. Now I'm just
Right.
like point
That
blank, period. This is what I said. That's it.
right. I
Now,
can't. This is what I have going. Like
yeah,
without explaining. Okay, I can't. I'm tied up during that time. Most family would expect that I explain why.
don't have
But
to.
why can't you don't have to. So, and I'm not saying I don't practice that, but it's something I continue to work on. And like
Yes,
Luna just called out, I just did it. And it's not that
yes,
I'm a bad
yes,
person. It's like, why do I have to be understood? Why do I have to
yeah.
explain myself? And you do that out of courtesy and caring
It's
about other
it's
people's feelings, but
formality. It's formality.
but a formality, exactly. But it's exhausting. Sorry,
It's so exhausting. It's so exhausting. And I'm gonna make a joke because I told you guys I kind of, well, I'm not trying to joke, but I want to bring some humor to it. Look, she said what she said. Okay, that's what I always say. I said what I said. Like when I think about did I come off a certain way, I'm like, I said what I said. How people take it is their responsibility.
Yeah,
If you have a pure heart and no bad agenda and mean no harm, what's the problem, right? You need to speak your truth.
right,
No one needs a
right.
whole long,
It's not your problem. It's
diatribe.
it's their problem, really. Because if you get
Right,
triggered by someone just being forward
right,
or
right.
straight with their message, then that's really. And I had a situation come up,
Mm-hmm.
yesterday. Personal situation
Mm-hmm.
where I had, well, three situations where I had to set boundaries.
Yeah,
About
yeah,
without getting into why I'm creating the boundary.
yeah.
That was active practice for me. You don't need to know
Heart.
why I'm creating the boundary. This is the boundary. And it's hard because you get pushback and people are used to you being that
Mm-hmm.
person who understands and you're empathic and you help because you are. But at the same time, I'm not here to make you feel better in that sense. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
to change my
right.
words to make you feel comfortable. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to
Yeah.
express myself. And if you
Ooh,
have
it's good.
a struggle with it, then that's something you got to work on. Why is that difficult for you? Why do I need to over explain myself?
Wow. You said something about expressing yourself, and that comes to another point I had written down. I think it's so funny how we're talking from our spirit, but we have notes and it's flowing exactly in line with what some things I had written down. So it's just funny to me because I wrote down a thought about our soul expansion. So it's like your soul expands towards expression, right? So, but you're conditioned to reach towards safety.
Hmm.
Why do we reach towards safety and how can we help the audience to reach towards expression? Once again, I'm going to go into ways that I've started expressing myself and the reasons why I do it. So I've been expressing myself on social media more in a different way. I've had two accounts of social media. I shut one down. I'm going to talk about why I did it. One account, I had thousands of followers, but it was, I'll follow you if you follow me type of thing. I was in different
Hmm.
Facebook groups and it was like, let's do a follow train. I know some people do that. I'm not knocking it. It's fine. But at the end of the day, those people forget about you because they didn't follow you for the intention of interest or what you have to offer on social media. It was just to get a like
For
and
a
follow back.
number.
Then I was
Yeah.
stuck with thousands of followers that I didn't really truly care about in my heart, right? And I'm putting out all this content, good stuff, quotes, everything. Some of y'all out there remember my Goddess Rising page if you're gonna watch this podcast and you know who I am. But eventually I took the page down. I put a little note up that said this page is coming down and no longer aligns with who I am. I was proud of the page though because it was a page like what Solera is doing for about healing, and I was writing a lot of quotes and inspiring people through my lived experiences as I was going through a life transition, a divorce, and things like that. So I saved all my stuff, made them copyright because we're gonna do things with that. But moving forward to my new page, Align Movements, which has been out for a while, but I've shifted from only making it business and adds to my personal life / my projects, my expression, my art. And it's new for me, and it is scary. I'm not gonna lie, because I grew up as a child that my parents always said, "Shh, you're being too loud." Dancing around,
Right.
singing, dancing off walls, flipping, always a performer. And after being told to be quiet and squelch and growing up in a very religious and strict, rigid background, my voice became very small. And so over the years, I've worked on bringing back my voice, healing my throat chakra. And now my page is very different and starting to lean towards myself. I am the art, I'm the muse. It's who I am. And I express through all modalities. It could be dancing one day, it could be quotes the next day, it could be in a recipe,
Right.
it could be
You're
anything.
embodying who you are in
Yes.
every aspect. Because that's the thing. A lot of people
Hmm.
get tied to their title,
Yes.
right?
It's a title.
And your whole identity is revolved
Yes.
around whatever. We're not, we're not, people who need to have titles. Did I lose you for a sec?
Yeah, it's okay. We'll edit all that. There was a
Yeah, titles,
disconnection.
yeah.
It's fine.
Titles, that's not who you are. Who you
Right.
are is what you embody, how you show up in every
Right.
way, what you offer to the world. Those things aren't important.
Yeah.
And so Luna is doing exactly that in
Yes.
her social media page is she as she's blossoming into all these different
Yes.
avenues, she's sharing that with the world,
I am.
so that's how she's practicing being
I'm going to
seen.
finish it just to give an example, and then I'm going to shift to you because I don't want to lose my train of thought because it goes fast, girl. But I'll jump to my latest project that I've been working on. And so now that it's out the bag, I'm not going to hide it. So I'm working on my own fitness brand, and I've been working on it for about 2 years privately, but I haven't launched it. And so now the launch is coming up in July. It's close to my roots. It's beautiful. It's indigenous. Basically, it's fitness and dancing as it's Caribbean based. And I put out
I
this
love it.
video of myself dancing and doing a photo shoot and really bringing that dance hall energy to the timeline. And, Solera's like, "Oh, you look so confident." And she gave me these great compliments. We were texting, and I was like, "Girl, do you know what I had to go through?" Because there's still that, okay, this is new. I haven't done this yet on here in this way. Then I had to go, in nature around the trail of my house, and my neighbors were walking up the sidewalk as I was like winding my waist and like, skimpy clothing and stuff like that. And the thing about why I'm bringing this up is because a lot of my followers on my page are friends or acquaintances. And so I'm calling y'all out, love you. But the truth is, many people don't read the captions of what you are posting. I've been guilty of it. That's why I try to read people's pages that I care about because I know how it feels as a creator to put out content and people are looking and scrolling by. And so people that didn't read were just like, "Oh, that's so sexy. Oh, look at you." And I was like, okay, the point wasn't just to be sexy and cute and just be seen. Thank you. I'm cute. Yes,
All right.
I do like my legs. That's one of my best attributes. But the point was inviting in the girls that want to dance, that want to move their body, that want to be sensual, but they want to do it in the daytime and they want to do it for their well being. And so, I wanted to go back and explain this isn't just about being sexy. I had to check myself. And I was like, nope, the art is there. I'm going to let
Right.
everybody decide
You don't
what
have to explain it.
they can decide
Right.
what my expression was for themselves. My job is to put out the content. And so I'm working on visibility without explanation and without
Mhm.
apologetics because I'm 44 years old. The only people I check with is my kids and my husband. If they're good with my content and it's not embarrassing them and it's not cringe, I'm putting it out. But it's new for me because
Right.
all those years, like I'm saying, going back to saying, "Oh, you're too loud," or "sit down," or being told what to wear. This is my not midlife crisis. This is my midlife evolution, and I think everyone deserves that moment to blossom and express themselves, whether it makes money or not. I want you guys to be challenged to express yourself just because. Do you draw well? Do you make beautiful bouquets? Do you make cakes? How can you do something more with that, not just for yourself, not just for your family members? How can you
Right, and
put out
focus
to
on
the
a day
world?
to day. What are the things that you do well
Yeah,
that you enjoy doing?
that
You
bring you to
probably
life.
want to explore more of that.
Right. So what about
Exactly.
you, Solaris?
Uh,
What
yeah.
ways do you like, even if you haven't done it yet, what are some other things without giving it all away, that you kind of want to bring more to the light without worrying about how you're looked at for it or worrying about what your expression is, and just come through with it as art. Just think about it for a second.
Sorry, what was your question?
Is there anything that you've not been, expressing yourself as, or anything that you're working on? I mean, I know that you've been doing quotes and stuff, but there's more gifts within you and different things. And my question is, do you worry or get concerned about how you show up, whether it's social media or what you're wearing that day because you felt sexy in that dress when you're going to a corporate event, whatever it is? Like, are there other ways that you're still playing with your expression and not worrying so much about, oh, I'm in my 40s, and oh, I'm a mom, and oh, my family can see
Just
this?
I think it boils down to really it's mindfulness, right? Paying attention to how you're showing up in conversations, how you're feeling when you show up, what words you're using, what words
Hmm.
you're not using, and making it intentional to show up as you are. So as we said before, Instagram is one of the ways I'm doing that. At work, I'm doing that.
Hmm.
With my own family, I'm doing that. So those are small ways that you can start practicing. It doesn't have to be like
Right.
you're on stage the next day and you're a celebrity the next day.
Exactly.
It's small ways and paying attention, because that's how everything starts. If you're not aware that something's happening, there's nothing you can do about it. So it's awareness and
Hmm.
then intentional small steps that I'm taking. Um, and what I wanted to say, the reason this is so important, it's not just self-expression, it's being truthful. There's too much
Mm.
People hide too much in
Falsities.
society.
Yeah.
And that's what we're being called as a collective, in these times. It's say the truth. Who are you? Stop showing up the way you think society wants you to show up, or the way that's safe or that's accepted.
Right.
Because those ways of being, it's part of why we have depression.
It is.
People suppressing who they are,
Ooh.
suppressing your voice, suppressing, and that's how I've felt. It's like my voice is like, I want to go here, but you're still being safe,
Mm.
right? And so I really wanted to say that, because this isn't just about us individually,
Yes.
or the podcast or anything like that. It's like, just say it, damn it. Just say it.
Say it,
Y-
do it, say it, and do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of issues in this world, and a lot of the reason why these problems continue is because we don't say anything to stand against it. It- we just keep playing safe, because we're scared that if we do something about it, it's not going to be accepted, it's not going to be received well,
So good.
and we worry so much of that because of judgment,
It's judgment.
which is created by people. So you see what I'm saying? So it's like, imagine we were little kids and we come into this world and we just want to express ourselves, because we don't know all the other conditions that were
Exactly.
programmed into us. And then later in life, all these conditions are programmed and instilled into you, which then hold you back from your truth. And you know what? People can watch this and be like, well, I'm always truthful. And a lot of times people are not honest with themselves.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we're too hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like posing, right?
Yeah.
I do that all the time. But do you do it with intention, or do you just talk to talk? Are you intentional with how you show up?
There's a difference between expressing yourself and being a person that says, that's just the way it is, I'm not going to change. That's where it becomes disrespectful. That's where it becomes dishonorable. And so I tell people there's a difference between, I'm saying what I'm saying with firm truth and clarity, or that's just the way I've been for 20 years and I'm going to do that. Like that
Thank you.
right there is an unwillingness to change and will actually keep you stuck. And what you said struck me, and I had a download. I didn't want to lose it. I had a spiritual download when you said suppression. Spirit just said to me, suppression can cause depression. It rhymes, it makes sense.
It
I'm
rhymes, it
telling
works.
you, I know it's a very sad Dr. Seuss rhyme, but for real, like when we
True.
suppress, we get depressed because we are holding things on a cellular level. Our shoulders are up high. We're not breathing. We're going through the mundane actions of life, doing we think the adult things, when really we are grown up kids in in adult bodies. Okay. We're toddlers in adult bodies. And some of us really didn't get a chance to fully express ourselves. That's why I always say play, find something to do that brings back the play, the joy, the laughter. I don't care if it's kicking a ball. I don't care what it is. We're talking about bigger things like our businesses and our endeavors, but it can be something simple. Even Solera, I know she does different things with one of her kids, creative things to encourage their gifts. So even if it's something that helps your kid out or community service, it's something that helps an elderly person out. But at the end of the day, you got to cut the yard because you're good at landscaping. Guys, it doesn't have to be big, life-changing, on the stage things. How can you bring light and
Mhm.
life around you and also
In your own
feel
way.
good? And I want to touch on one more thing. I think one of the reasons why people hold back out of being visible, and I know this, is because they're waiting for the right time. If
Yep.
that's you, I'm looking at the
That's a
camera.
big one.
I
Yep.
want to talk to you because Solera and I have done this. And I have to stop myself from doing it even now in small ways, even though I've grown so much. I have to always ask myself. I'm a very reflective person. It's just part of who I am. Why are you doing this? How is it adding to who you want to be? How is it adding to the collective? When are you going to start doing it? And why are you saying you're not ready? It's different if spirit said to me, or in my heart, in my gut, I felt it's not time. That's honoring yourself. It's different if you feel the go and the push and that fire burning within you, but then you feel your knees knocking and get the sweat because you're comparing yourself to someone else that does that better. Or when I get that money, I'm going to do that. When I become a celebrity or have 50,000
Mm.
followers, I'll start singing on
When I get the
Instagram.
certification, when I get the degree, when I
Yo, what you're born
yeah.
with is your superpower. Do the damn thing. Start where you are. I don't care if you have 5 followers. I don't care if you have no followers. Get your notebook if you're a writer and start writing, because doing those things in the frequency of what you feel is true will only yield blessings. And then from there, the rest will be revealed to you. You don't have to know the whole staircase. Just start taking the 1, 2 little steps. I
Mhm.
have to somebody's watching this and needs to hear
Those are great.
that,
Yeah, it's great
you know?
takeaways because that's the thing. Sometimes we look at the whole ladder instead of looking at the next
Yeah,
step,
it's one little
and
step.
it's so much easier said than done. I know that.
It is.
Luna knows that. It's just take one action. One. What's
One.
one way that you can show up more authentically as your true self
Yeah,
without playing a role based on a title,
yeah.
uh, based on what your role is in the family, at work, doesn't
Mhm.
matter. Because we dishonor ourselves doing that, and it's not healthy for us to do
Not
that. And
healthy.
eventually it's going to catch up to you and there's going to be regret. And we don't want that, right? We want to be our best selves. And how we do that is
Hmm.
why are you laughing? How
Ah,
we do
'cause I'm
that
thinking, you know me.
is by yeah, it's continuous effort. That's it, guys. We don't have it all figured out. We've said this many times. We don't come
Hmm.
here to say we're better than you. We come here to share the things that have been on our
Yeah.
minds, the things that we're working on, and, hoping that we can
Mm.
plant some seeds to encourage others to want to do the same. So, again, this isn't about, we don't show up as our true selves. It's just showing up with your thoughts without overthinking it, being in your essence of who you are, no matter what
Mm.
environment
Your
you are.
essence, yeah.
Like I'm a coach, right? I like to help
Yeah,
people.
she is.
I Whether it's friends, whether it's family, whether it's strangers, I like to plant seeds to help people get past the block that
Roadblock.
they have within themselves to achieve whatever it is that they're looking for. That's who I am. So how do I bring that in every aspect of my life, whether it be even corporate, even though it's not my
Mhm.
job, but that's who I am. Why do I suppress that part of me while I'm
Yeah,
in that
right,
capacity? Um, and I'm not saying that, people at corporate need my life coaching. Everyone needs life coaching,
right.
really, but why would I suppress that when that's who I am? So just finding little ways to integrate authenticity in your daily life in whatever way that means for you.
I've known Solera a long time. I've said it before. If you're new to this podcast, I've known her since I want to say eighth grade. And we became closer in high school. Long time. And she's always been a coach. And she's a soul coach. She's an intuitive soul coach. And she's helped me and guided me through many times in my life through having a mentally ill father. And I have helped her and guided her through many times and transitions in her life. And now we're just giving that same gift to the collective. And the reason I laughed earlier, and she's like, why are you laughing? The reason I laughed earlier is because I giggled because one of the ways, and we're going to wrap it up for sure, but one of the ways that I keep myself grounded in remembering to express myself because time is short and we don't know what tomorrow holds, that thought keeps me going. And I'm a visual person. I always tell people I'm a visual learner, and I see things in my mind first before I speak them. And one day I was feeling very mundane about my schedule a few years ago. And I saw a vision of myself sitting as an elderly person. And I was just kind of rocking back and forth, doing the same thing I was doing that day. And I laughed because that thought pushed me to start doing the small steps because I do not want to be a senior citizen that had hopes, wishes, and things that I could have fulfilled, even if they weren't big, simply because of fear, busyness, trying to please others. I am admiring so many people in their 60s and beyond that are taking up new projects because life keeps evolving as you evolve. Until your
Right.
last breath, we are here as a creation to express creation. All of us are creators. I don't care what you say and what you
Ooh, I like
do.
that statement.
I don't
Mhm.
even know what I just said, girl. Tweet that
I like
or
it.
whatever. Put it on threads. But yeah, we are created to create. And so that's why some of us are so sad and so foggy and
Right,
so angry and so cranky. Sometimes it's not even anything happening, it's a lack of something that you're not doing, you're not expressing. If that's
right,
you, please think about this. We're not experts, but we know from lived experiences that moving forward is the way that you tell the universe that you're ready to start being serious and take aligned action,
right,
taking those small steps. It doesn't matter if it's a miniature step. That's faith. Faith is not
right,
knowing every single thing. And we are all here for such a time as this. Like, we are all here in this messy, effed up world with all the things happening, and we won't get into it. As a Black woman, you know how the hell I feel with what's happening right now in the government. We are still here to rebel, to dance, to show the world that we are going to rebel through sacred acts of rejoicing, writing, and keep on creating because we have to show the world the power of humanity. Otherwise, then your worst fear, robots taking over, will happen. So it's
well,
time
that's
to
exactly it, and you can't
start
show your
showing up.
power if you're not being visible,
That's
right?
it.
So it all
It
ties
all
in
ties
together.
together. I just wanted to tell that somebody
Mhm.
that like we're all creators. You're sitting here going, "Oh, they can say that because they're in a podcast." No, baby. This YouTube channel, this podcast came from many conversations between Solera and I. Me having a YouTube channel that I never used because I knew I was waiting for a co-host to do something with. And Spirit's like, oh, she's been here all along. You just didn't realize she had the same thoughts. So patience, asking questions, communicating, showing up as your most authentic self and not allowing fear to take the driver's seat is those are the main tips we can tell you to start to become visible and check your
Mhm.
ego. Why do you want to be seen? Is it because you just want to be
Yeah.
seen? No, it has to be for a higher calling because the universe blesses the energy of what you do and how you do it. So if you are want
If
to
you're
help
not ready
people,
to start taking action steps, right?
that's
Even
okay.
just being mindful, but just
Think,
start paying attention,
write them down.
because that's
Right.
how these things start. Exactly. Just pay attention, write them down,
Write
like
them
Luna said.
down.
And then you can decide for yourself. But essentially, if you're not showing up authentically in your life, then you're acting, you're putting on a mask.
Yeah.
Why live that way? Well, we weren't meant to live that way.
555 on our clock. We like in angel
Ooh.
numbers around here.
Yeah,
So
that's a powerful
it's a
one.
powerful one. And
Change.
it's change, guys.
Change.
It's time for change. I want to say one more thing and we're going to wrap it up because as you guys know, we live astrologically. If you've been following our YouTube channel, you know that we live astrologically, meaning that we live by the cycles of nature, whether we want to or not, or mean to or not. Solera and I are always observant of what's happening with the moon, the sun, the stars, the earth, and the Taurus. The Taurus new moon just passed Saturday. Whenever this recording comes out, it was the Taurus new moon. New moons are for intentions. So you want to encourage and challenge and trigger you in the best way. I'm going to ask the audience now: in what ways are you hiding? In what ways are you self-abandoning? What small actionable step can you take towards being seen and doing something visible, even if it's in your community or by your next door neighbor or at work? How can you start to make those steps and maybe find an accountability partner, a friend to talk about this with? If you really want to start doing something new, you can talk to somebody and just be like, this is where I'm at. I'm nervous. I'm scared about it, but I really want to do
Mhm.
this.
The
And
accountability piece is big.
it's big because great. I mean, I
Mhm.
was in her real name. It doesn't matter. Solera and I
Mhm.
chat every single day. And what we've been trying to do with one another is just check in, not just check in like, hey, girl, how you doing? But like, did you do anything today? Like, what have you done today? What's one little step you've done today towards something expressive? Because we know that if we don't, we're going to get off centered again because the world is busy and there's lots of noise. So I want to put those questions out to you guys. And this new moon of setting new intentions and doing new things and change. 555, stepping forward. Are you hiding from? Why are you hiding? Ask yourself these questions. When did you start hiding? And how can you start showing up? In what small way can you start showing up and being true to yourself?
Yeah. I love that. That's a great way to close this. It's change.
It's time for
It's
change.
just we're just saying be you
Yeah.
without justifying it, without explanation. Just be you, whatever
You.
that means for you.
That's your superpower, and the world needs it. Being you is your superpower. I say it all the time. The world needs you, not clones of you. It needs you. So show up, do the damn thing. Let's tell the people where to
We're
find
ready for you to
us.
show up. We're ready to show up. It's
We are
time.
ready. It's time. Okay. First of all, y'all, there's like 200 something of y'all on here. I hope that you're all really following and listening to our podcast. But 200 of y'all can go over to our Instagram because let me tell you, we have fresh quotes that you'll never see on this channel because it's for Instagram. And we want to, grow our page organically. So if some of y'all feel inclined, and I know you do, go on over to the unfolding underscore podcast underscore 777 on IG and press like and follow. Not because for follow, but because you have something that is drawing you towards what we're saying, you resonate. And the more that you support us, the more we can do this work. So please do that. Like and to subscribe on this video, and not just like on it, comment on it. Tell us what your new intentions are. Let's talk about the fear of hiding, of hiding and not showing up. Let's talk about being visible and in what ways you want to do that so we can chat back with you. We're very responsive and maybe help you to think of a new way you didn't think of before. So that's where to find us. Am I missing anything, Solera?
No, I think
That's it.
that's a great way to wrap it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. So we're glad to have you guys with us today. Thanks for spending this beautiful day with us and for diving into this subject about being seen. And speaking of being seen, we see you and we value you and we love you. And we will see you next time here on The Unfolding. Have a wonderful,
We
wonderful
appreciate you all.
afternoon.
Until next time.
Adios.
Bye.